Good morning, everyone, and here we are once again on a Hump Day Wednesday, and gonna jump right in and see what we can do. About a week ago or so, I was working on a certain process that basically did a call to JSON on another server, and it's going to set up some handshaking and some different security between two different sites. The thing about it was, we basically I ran into a problem where it wouldn't respond, it wouldn't get there, it wouldn't connect and stuff. And it turns out, after looking at it and going a little deeper, that I had set it the correct way at least a dozen times during that video, and what was happening is the call from the server to the other server was actually being cached. So every time I changed it, it was always the exact same problem, same thing wrong, and it was not going to connect no matter what we did. So now that I got that straight and we know where it's coming from and what we're working with, now we should be able to set it correct and get some the right settings in place. So now I'm gonna pick that back up, take a look at it, and see if we can't make some more connections and get everything working the way it should. So jumping right in, let's see what we have here. So I'm working with two different sites. One of them is, this is the shopping it's the shopping plugin on the 3D site, and this one has the file we're connecting to in this case, which is that file right there. And this one is the WooCommerce site, or it's a plugin on WordPress that's connecting to the WooCommerce site. So basically, this page here on WordPress is connecting to something that's going to work with this list over here on that side of things. Okay, so first thing is that one isn't correct, and we're going to fix that. We don't need that in there. Okay, hey, something worked. That's one thing we won't have to fix. The biggest part is, first of all, I was setting this based on not what you inserted, but what you, let's see right here. We have the host URL and this host URL needs to be, that tells it where to go. Then I need the site that you're calling from, so let's see if we can't get this to tell us the right things. Starting with, so the curl is going to go to this, and that should cover, host URL should take us all the way to that part. And then over here, the store URL, that is actually read in from the, wow, get some thunder outside and lightning. Electrical storm, yeah, that's what I want to do, instead of working on the internet during an electrical storm. It is California. It's when we get rain, it's like, yeah, couldn't even fill a cookie sheet, as one friend once told me. Okay, let's see. We want to replace this name right here with the current website on WooCommerce. So let's say current site. I think I already have it in the plugin. Hold on. That part would be, if I already have the information, I don't want to reinvent the wheel here. This particular thing is plugin URL is that. Plugin file, those are all about the plugin. Okay, fine. We'll go find it. I know I've used it a number of times, and there is something about it. Okay. Hello. Okay, and let's see, what do we have here? So get site URL should be pretty thing. Oh, get site URL. Does it get any more? Does it get any more straightforward than get site URL in WordPress here? What's the actual use of that? I think does it have to have anything else added to it? There's site URL and get site URL. Okay. So site URL should do it, and we do not need any extra parameters. But why is there a get site URL? Let me just check. Blog is null, path, scheme. Okay, we can just do this one. Okay, go here. Where's our code? Jump back to the page we were working on someplace here. It would be in this class. No, functions. Functions, there we go. And we will set site URL equals this. And then we can take this site URL, well, let's call it Z site URL, just so we're, because we have Z host where we're going to. Site URL would be here, which is the WooCommerce site URL. Should be there. So I did it with single quotes. Put that in like that. And then the Woo key that we're talking about is actually going to be this right here. And the secret. So we're going to actually send real data over. Don't worry, this is my test site, and I do plan on, I will be removing these values anyway, so I'll be replacing them after the session, so don't bother hacking me. What are you going to hack anyway? Get into a site that's a test site? Okay. The only thing you'll do is annoy me a little bit, at the best. Okay, we have this and that. Okay, so now we're sending over the... Why is that one so bright? Oh, because that should have been a single quote. There we go. Love it when it uses different colors. At least you can tell what's working and what's not. Okay, so we have this process that goes to here and brings back the information. And I'm having it spit the results in the console log for the moment. What we're going to do is when it gets over to here, we're bringing in those three values. We check to see if it currently exists, and we're just basically responding if it found it or not. In this case, it shouldn't have found it, and then we're going to teach it to do something else. So let's give that a shot and see how it does. Yeah, got a 500 on something. Line 121. What did I mess up? Line 121 on... not that site, this site. And I'm guessing it is... oh, we have one extra bracket there. That would do it. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Loading up. Okay, here we're going to go host URL. Oh, sorry. 3d.http3d.net is our test site, and we're going to use that particular piece to connect to it. And when I click save, what do we get? Oh, it had a request error. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. What I want to do is I want to stop the process. Two things. First of all, see, the word test shows up, which is right here. What I want to do is I want to find out what this path is, and we're going to test based on that for the moment. So in here, we'll put that value. That'll tell us the path that it's trying to go to, and then we can confirm that it's actually getting to where it needs to be. On this side, notice here, we're passing in basically an asterisk, which tells it go ahead and reply back to any site, no problem at all. What I could do is, since I know the Woo store that I'm sending it into, I could allow it based on that Woo store right here and pass that back as the connector allows which ones it is. I can even log them so I know which stores are trying to hit me. And, well, we'll see what happens here. Let's see if we can get some information back on the screen. I got a fresh brain today, so even though we saw some of the same activity last time I did this, I have hope that we're going to figure out what's going on here. And that one did this. And I want to see, based on this, let's open up that part. And key found is 0. Okay, so we have the right thing being passed here. That's the Woo store's name and the key that it did. So now what we're going to do is we're going to teach it a lesson here. We're going to tell it what to do. Based on this site, see, actually, most of the time when I'm working with PHP, the first time you refresh the page, it may not use the new version. The second time tends to trigger the caching and whatever, and it tends to go to the right place. So that's when changes are made to the place. Now, if the page hasn't had any changes, it's updated every single time. Just something about the way IIS does it. Okay, so when we get through here, what I'm looking for is if it's not empty, so we know there's a store URL. And notice that in here, we did have a full path. We sent this whole thing, and we know the store URL, so that's sent properly. We were getting the right value. And we go to lower, we check to see if it exists in here. If it's if key found is 0, if count results equals 0, then we insert certain thing here. So let's see, did it insert that particular item into my table? We'll know if we click on list stores again. Okay, let's refresh this page. I think it's refreshed. I don't think that's the issue. I think it didn't save it, which is fine. We're going to find out. What's going on with that. That's the next piece we're still working on. So 3D stores. Oops. Add store, list store. List store isn't there. Actually, that is listed. We should have found it. Key found 0. The key wasn't found. Oh, that's my own signature here. If results are 0, then that's that. Otherwise, key found. It didn't match the key that we currently have in our setup. And that's actually fine. What I want to do is, if key found equals 0, which is, we're either having a 1 or a 0. Z count equals 0. Then what I want to do is I'm going to go in here, right here. So it has results, which means it found the record, but the key didn't match. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to we're going to run a statement here, and we're going to update the record that it found. And I've added an extra field where we can set this value and tell it that we're checking it up against it. So let's do that. We have update that table and set, and here it is. We have, going in here, shopping stores. If we look in here, what we have is this. We have this value, and we already know a bunch of information on that, but the WalkTheWeb key and secret haven't been set. That's no problem. We'll take care of that. The WooCommerce key and secret are here. And what I created was a WooCommerce key new and a secret new. So when it comes in here, if it doesn't find this value, which Y2TF, I'm just curious. Y2TF? No, see, that's the thing, is it is a different key. Okay, that's fine. And I'm glad. We detected exactly what I figured might be a condition that we would run into. Come on back. Nobody likes blue screens with Windows. Come on, wake up. What I do, switch too fast between two things? Come on, reconnect. And here's Johnny. There we go. Okay, so in here we've found the value for this in our store URLs, which means we have the store set, but what we do not have, there's two pieces here. We did not match the key, so I'm going to insert it in WooCommerce key new and also WooCommerce secret new. Okay, so set key new equals, and we'll put the value there. Secret new equals that, and that'll be where store ID. We do have a store ID now because, well, that's if we're inserting a new one. If that is found, we already have the value here. Store ID equals blank. If I'm not mistaken, store ID is just a random value at the start. Let me double check. Store ID is just random value, so we're going to look and see, did we find the store ID or not? And if we did, means we had results back, and the store ID equals zero and store ID. If this part here will be, if results equals 0, means it didn't find anything. Okay, then we insert it. I'm going to do this part afterwards. I was wrong about where that goes. Because we do insert it if it hasn't been found, and we're going to call it the exact item that it's supposed to be here. And on this piece, if the key is found, which means is not found, we haven't confirmed it, so we are going to come over here and insert this piece. I'm going to say if we insert a new record, I'm going to set key found equals 1. Just because we're setting the key, well then obviously it's now in the table and we're good to go. Over here we're updating these. I also want to update and make sure if it's been deleted that it gets re-added as a possible. Yes, okay. So we're going to set, if it's been deleted, we're going to set it to null. User ID equals blank and equals 0. That's going to basically just reopen the task of what you have, saying that this one has requested it. I may have to block that later to make sure people aren't just keeping on requesting and pounding away at a server, but we will decide how to do that later. We've got to get it working before we can protect it even more. Store ID equals, and we'll insert the store ID there. Okay, this is going to be, we got a couple values here to put in. One of them is the Woo key that we're bringing in. We're going to put it as the new Woo key. Sounds like I'm saying Wookiee from Star Wars. The new secret is there, and then the store ID is basically, this one's only if it didn't exist. Also, we're going to make that Z store ID, not store ID, just so we get them all in place. That means we're dragging in and using the same value that it did before. Take that and drop it right there. Now we have a way to update and add the additional key to it if it hasn't matched. So let's give this a shot. First thing, before I just click on that, I want to click over here and see if HTTPS 3d.http3d.net. I'm bouncing between two different sites, and so I've got to remember if I use the 3D or not. Okay, so we're using this particular key, and when I click save, nope, we had an error. That error is giving me a CORS issue, which means that we are not allowed to read this particular page, and it has to do with this piece right here. There's a couple things related to this. One of them is, the first thing is, this is the store that's coming in and trying to read this site. So if I put that there, then I'm just basically saying, any store that comes in, we're going to be able to do that. And the other piece, good morning. And the other piece here is basically let's see, we have that part, which is right here, and we're allowing get, post, and options, which before we only had get in here, so now we're allowing post. That should fix one issue, but allow access control, we're going to be able to do this particular piece there. That should fix the problem with this receiving it, but we're gonna do two different parts here. I'm not gonna waste a lot of time on this. I did get this working the other day, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, but here it is. When I click that, see it didn't, we can track and make sure that we're getting the right thing there and seeing if it's actually adding the one that we expect. But that's, it could be sending it as HTTP instead of HTTPS. That could be the case. Well, here is actually my answer. HTTPS, so it did come through the right way there. Okay, well, we'll figure out that piece afterwards. For now, we're going to just refresh this part of the page, which is in turn going to go in here, and for this record right here, we should now have a, those are approved date. There it is. We now have a WooCommerce key and a WooCommerce new. So what we're going to do now is jump on this other site of where it received it. We have 3D Shopping Stores, 3D Shopping Commerce Connect. Our pages. Where do I actually have the pages? We're going to figure this out right now. I do not see the pages here. Okay, when I do, oops. Let's find it right now. When I'm in this page and I come to here, where is, oh, I know where this page is. Sorry, it is in this function right here. We're basically adding 3D store settings page is this one. It goes through, gives us all the different pieces of it. Store name, store URL are the only two columns I'm showing. It will be right. Get mold page. No, that's not the right one. Sometimes I wonder, how did I find it when here I'm the one that actually created it? Okay, 3D, connect 3D store. That's that page. This one is list stores page. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so list stores page, we have the add store button at the top. Then we have shopping list stores, find in files. This is going to do a JSON call and get our stores. Oops, that needs to be in the right folder. It's technically in uploads, content, plugins, and shopping. That's where we're working. Find all. Now I have this, which gets set when I say get stores. So get stores is going to well, wait a minute. Okay, what I'm getting here is when I tell it to get stores, it goes to shopping get stores, which is this one. And this particular function currently is bringing back these fields. We need to add 2 fields to it, which are the new key and the new secret, because we need to know if there's been any changes. And the only way to detect that is if this has been set. Okay, we bring these values back. They're part of the set that I'm working with. Let's see. That's part of get stores. Get stores does that. When it comes in here, what I'm showing on the page is the store name, store URL, and store ID for editing. Okay. What I want to do is we're going to add a column. Well, actually, where we have this edit button, we're going to add another function like this. Update key, because this one is now update store key, because we've already told it we have a new key, so now I just need to basically be able to tell it that we have something to add. You know what? I need this to be something that only exists when there's a new key available. For now, I'm going to put a plus sign in here just so that I know where it is. We'll come back to that in just a second. And var new key, the new key equals blank, oops, blank, and let's put the new key in here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this value in here, which will be inserted into this spot if we actually can, if it's something that we need to do. Okay, so actually let's set it to nothing first. Key equals blank, and then if, this will be an if statement. If response, the response I dot WooCommerce key is not equal to response I dot WooCommerce new key and WooCommerce new key is not equal to blank, then we're going to give them the option to run this process, which will be another button on the page. Let's just see if we get the button on the page like I'm hoping. So list stores. Every time I click list stores, it should run that process and update this. Let's make sure we're getting the latest version of the script, because it could be just using our current script. Go back to console. Okay, we have 3D stores and list stores. There's a store, and we now have update key. You know what? I want to move that in front of edit so that edit's always the last thing in the row. Let's just take this and move it here. Now, edit will always be, because we're building from right to left as we add these items, they're floating right. So if I put new key, then it goes in that way. And now we should have update key is available. We could tell it to be a different color button. We can, we can do what we need to on that. And we can also set a badge when something like this comes up and it needs to be done. But you won't even know it until you open the page, so we'll think about that one. We may go with green button like this one has. Let's see, I think it's just specifically called that. It is W2W green button right. Okay, I think I can handle that. We'll rename this class on this button equals, instead of blue button right, we're going to call it green button right. That way it just stands out that it's something that needs to be done. Now when they click that button, we're going to have update store key, and it's going to give us the store ID. Okay, let's go to JavaScript, which is under scripts here. Oh, we're in JavaScript page. That makes sense. I'm looking for, I kind of want to make it near the edit function, just so that they resemble each other. So let's find that, find next. There it is. We're going to go in and do something with this. No, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do an internal fix something. So let's create another function here. Copy that. And this one is going to be update store key. And I believe that's what I called it the first time. Let's make sure. Fine. Got to have all the caps in place because JavaScript is cap sensitive. Okay, so we did get update store key, and we're telling it which key to update. And here we're going to do a process that goes to the back end. I know I've done it a bunch of times on here, so just looking for our looking for similar. Okay, let's see. That's what I'm looking for. We're going to do a request, and we're going to tell it to use that particular function and go right to there. Copy that. And for this, all we really need is the store ID, which we're going to pass this value that we passed in here for the store ID. And we'll know we're going to check some security, so not everybody's going to be able to click this button. But all we need is store ID, and then basically to update store key. Okay. Update store key. We're going to first open our iframes page. Let's create a button. We have save store. We have connect store, so we're going to create another one right here. That particular one, I like copying and pasting these, that way I don't type something wrong. Here, here, and there. And that will be update store key. These values don't even get shown on the page, but I like saying what they do just so if some programmer comes through the code and needs to check something, they can actually use, they can follow the code by plain sight words in there. It's instead of me making a ton of notes along the columns, I make sure that things make sense, what you're actually clicking and what you're doing here. So that should help with a lot of stuff. Where we have Connect Store, we're going to add one here for case this. Break. And this is going to go into our shopping stores function. And we're going to create a process in here that, let's see, if we is user enroll, we're going to want to do something like delete store. You know, it's going to be very similar to our delete store function, so I'm going to make a copy of that one, and we're going to create a new function for it, and it's going to be called, once again, same consistency. We're going to call this update store key. And we pass the store ID in. And the reason I picked delete store is because we do an update to the actual store table, which makes it, and we're even passing the same value in. We're checking for the same roles. That's why I did that. Delete is equal to null. Delete user is blank. We're making sure it's not deleted. Delete 0 on the store ID. And then the only thing we need to do is, there's going to be two pieces. We need to can I do this in one statement? Can I take a value from another field and put it in a value and then delete that or value in the other field all in one statement? If the set are in the right order, I believe I can. I'm going to test that theory. WooCommerce key equals WooCommerce key new. WooCommerce secret equals secret new. And then I'm going to set WooCommerce key new equals, I may have to do this in two statements, but I'm going to find out. I want to test it. And WooCommerce secret new equals blank. That should update all four of the parts that I need, set it back to there. So now I can do update store key with the store key in the update page here. It's just like this delete statement that we did. And so I'm going to do that. And we're going to put update store key here. And that takes care of it. We now have that piece in place. It should update the store key and change what it has in the database. And then when it finishes that, what I want it to do on the return is parent dot, what is it, store? Store? Is that the name? Store, 3D store. What did I call it? JavaScript. It's going to be my get store function, set connect, get stores, and it's WTW shopping. I believe it's with a mixed case, WTW shopping like that, and then it's going to have get stores like that. So we come in here, parent shopping dot get stores, and that'll refresh the page that we're looking on after it's been saved to the new value. Then we're going to check and see in the database, did it actually do it? The other part is this update key should disappear because we are telling it to use the new key. So let's see if we got all those pieces in place. That was a handful, wasn't it? I'm going to close the current 3D project. There's no reason to keep opening this every time I refresh the page. And it'll just make it a little touch faster. Okay, list stores. We have update the key. Let's click that and see. We may have to check it and see that we're actually getting everywhere we think we're getting. Okay, so when I click that button, let's do some tracking. Nothing works first time. Come on. Did you guys actually expect to see something there? Actually, I was hoping to. Okay, so we have update connect, or this part. Let's check that. Update store key, stores. This should activate, so let's find out if we got this far. It's definitely one place to go. Let's see if that gets that far. Refresh the page. Here we go, and list stores still says that. So okay, so update store key, we got that far. Let's check how much farther we made it. There's another place we can check, and that is our error log. I know there's a bunch of stuff in here. I got to go through this stuff one of these days. Syntax error, unexpected / / whatever, and that is not today. Okay, never mind. That was something else I probably already fixed. So we, just out of curiosity, oh, guess what? It did do something. Store frames, R key, it made them blank. Okay, I was suspecting that it could do something like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this statement in here two separate statements so that this one, we need to run two separate queries. And the first one is going to set the value equal to whatever the new key gets, it gets updated. And then here, this one is going to update the new key to blank. And that should get us two different statements, two different pieces updated, two queries. Okay, didn't know. I had a feeling it might do that. I just don't remember ever using a value that I was wiping out at the same time. So, you know, got to test it, got to try it. Okay, but when it came back from this process, I'm not sure why it didn't fire off the get part again to refresh that page. So let's find out. Okay, so we have update store key, and it does fire off that process. It did hit the database, so we already know that worked to that degree. Actually, update store key is here. We tell it on this page to do this process. So let's check a couple values. Console log. Done update. We'll just tell it to spit out some words on the page so we know how far it made it. We want to know that it made it to this particular process and that it finished doing that, which makes sense. That we finished doing this and made it a full loop back to here. Then parent WalkTheWeb shopping, get stores. That should work. I don't think it called this process. I don't think this is available. Well, it's set to parent. I guess it should be available. We're going to test that theory and find out if get stores was able to process. We do that right here. And we're going to check it to see if it even started this process. We'll tell it to track it right here. Okay, let's see what's happening. So refresh that page. Oh, first, before I do that, I want to make sure, well, see, it's going to, if all does what it's supposed to, we should actually not see the update because it's blank now. Let me see. See, update key shouldn't have shown. The values in the database right now are blank. If WooCommerce key new is blank, we shouldn't have seen that information. It's part of this get stores. This part right here, if that is not equal to that and this key is not blank, let's find out what it's bringing back. Let's find out what that is. Let's see. I plus that. Okay, let's check that, and should have been able to just click the page, but this will do the same thing. Okay, we have stores, list stores, and new key is undefined. Oh. Why is it undefined? When I go to 3D Shopping Get Stores, which is this one, we have these values coming up here. Why? That shouldn't be undefined. Let's find out what's going on with that. Test another value here. That would be on the 3D site. I'm not going to change that one yet, so 3D.net, and this get stores, we have commerce new are coming up blank, which is what I expect. Is that part of that is part of stores. It is indexed. WooCommerce new. WooCommerce. Did I type something wrong? WooCommerce key new. Let's make sure. Ah, there was a spelling error. Oh, new key. It's key new. That would make a big difference. Yep. So it was Okay, so it's WooCommerce key new, because I basically added the word new to the end of the key. That would make a big difference in what we're getting here. And now, just so we can prove that point, this here, whoops, wrong page. This one, when I click this, that button shouldn't be here. No, let me see. Oh, I didn't refresh it. We got to refresh the script because I just changed it. Reload the page, and here we go. 3D stores, list stores, and the button's not there. That's what we expect because we didn't get a real value in there. Now this one looks, now it should change the value, which we'll confirm in the database. This one now says we have a key available that's been broadcast from the other site. It's been issued. And then over here, when we list the stores, now we have the option to update the key. And when we click the button, done update, and it automatically took it off the list. Yay, process worked. And what we should see in the database now is we have the WooCommerce key in place, but the new key is blank because there hasn't been a new one requested. Okay, so now we have the new key. It's been issued, and this side's all good. What we need to do is going back the other direction. Okay, we've gotten that far. We're about an hour into this. I'm going to continue, but I'm going to take about a 5-minute break, and then we're going to continue by issuing the WalkTheWeb key and then getting it to pass back the other direction so that that one can be updated also. That'll just be, that's part of connecting up and knowing that it's working. When this one says I'm accepting the new key, it should refresh the key back to the other site. That's, complete loop so that both sites are using the right keys and they both exist. So what I'm going to do, yeah, that will marry the two where they actually have the right key. We're going to make sure if the key is blank, then we'll issue a key and send it. If it already had a key, we're not going to update it unless you request update that key. Then you can have it issue a new key. Okay, so that'll do it. But yeah, I'm going to take about a 5-minute break here, and I will be right back. I'm back. Okay, and here we go. We're just continuing on this process, and we're going to do some things. The first one is whenever we tell it to issue a key and it looks that direction, what we're going to do is tell it to generate a key on this other side, and then we'll figure out what to do with it. But first of all, I kind of want to get an idea. Looking at if I look in user API keys, that's not it. If I go to the 3D or the WooCommerce site is what I'm actually going to go check. You know what? I'm going to pull this off the screen for a second because I don't want to show some WooCommerce keys here. Just trying to be a little due diligent. I want to check the number of characters that we use in them just so that, it's okay. Just getting a little ground coverage here, trying to figure out exactly what I want to use. Okay. Put that back to there. I'm getting you back. I don't do too many things off screen, but every once in a while there's something that I need to. Okay, what we're going to do is we're actually going to generate, we're going to check these values while we're here. So when somebody comes across and they request something from us, that's the site that requested it. We'll get back to that stuff later. But this site, when something came across, okay, we don't need some of this tracking that we already did. Update the store. There's the line for that. Okay, I didn't keep anything there. And this particular one, we're done with that. And that all worked, so that wasn't the issue. Okay. And now what I'm doing is this. When it goes in here and it tells it to update the store here, there's something else I wanted to check that'll be part of update the store key. But if we're going to determine if it's a new request or if it's one that's already existing based on what we do. So starting with here, when it comes in here and it checks, it's checking the store ID. What I want to do is I am already finished with all that stuff, but I'm going to tell it to check one more thing while it's in here. What it's going to look for is I'm going to look and see if the key values are issued or not. If not, I'm going to create them. No, this isn't the right place. That's not a good place to do that. Just thinking about where it's going to be at. Code-wise, so when one gets, we got to walk through the process. Okay, so let me back up a step and delete. I don't want to delete that. Cancel. I'm going to do something here just so that we can work with this and not ruin the one that's actually set up and working right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change this to, I'm just going to add a 2 in there just so it doesn't find it, and we can work on the whole process from start to finish and initiate kind of the handshake one way, sent back, boom, everything's done. So from here, we're going to say apply. Okay, finish that. It updated this also. So now it's not going to find this current store in place. What's that third thing? That's a deleted item. Let's get rid of that too while we're here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in here, if we call this list now, there's www2. So basically nothing has been set, and we're going to work both sides of this. I'm gonna start with as if the part was initiated from this side. So what'll happen is we type in something, it comes over here, and it sends the request over to that side. When it comes in to that is the, let's get the right page here. It is the WooCommerce page, which is this one here. So when it comes in, first of all, store ID is blank. If we have that, we look to see if it exists. If it's not found, we add it. We add it, but it has not been given any information from the other side. So because this one gave it permission, this one can now read our site, the WooCommerce information. We already know that's been initiated, but at the same time, we know it can't view anything from my site unless I approve it. So what I want to do is I'm going to let this go through, and this is going to automatically give us, that will initiate the request to this server, knowing that it's there. Okay, let's go ahead and run this code. That tells it to do that. And now on this side of things, we should have another store in here. Yes, it's right here. So from this side, so now we have ability to reach WooCommerce, but we have not initiated anything else from this particular side. We could we'll send more information next time, like the store name. We'll get the cart URL, product URL, everything from the other side, and pass it this direction when we create it. So we're not going to worry about those items quite yet. Notice that it did not set create date, create user ID, or anything like that. Let's fix that. And before we go any farther forward, this statement right here we need to know who did this. Well, it doesn't have anybody that did it. That's the point. Okay, so let's put a request date though. Create date and update date. There's a reason. And there's a reason. I want those values in place just so that we know when it was requested. We'll figure out how to add. We'll add the person's ID in place after the fact. But for now, if it's creating a new record, I want it to know, we could even do create user ID, and just so they're not null. Well, actually, they wouldn't be null. They weren't null before. No, they're blank. Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay, but we will have a date in place, so they're not null. Okay, so we're adding those pieces, and then what we have is that part's all fine. We don't have anything to do there. Okay, so what we're dealing with is this person hasn't accepted it, so we have a key here, And what we know is we're going to know some more information. We know where it's requested from, but as long as the key, WTW key, is blank, we haven't approved it. So what I want to do on the listing, where we tell it to get stores, yeah, get stores right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to Z WTW key, and this particular one we're going to check to see if something here, if WTW key equals blank, means that we haven't issued one, and we're going to put in a process that create WTW key. That sounds good. And it's for this particular store. We'll know what store it is because of the line we're on. And this will be create WalkTheWeb key. How about instead of that, it should be something friendlier, like we should say allow connection. That's what we'll do. We'll allow the connection. If the connection doesn't exist, then basically allow connection. That's what we'll call it. Because if the connection doesn't exist, then we also want to say something about not connected. See, if you see allow connection on there, we could actually make it where you say allow connection or deny connection. That's an option. Well, you could delete it. Once you delete it, it doesn't allow the connection anyway. Okay. Well, that's a good point. We'll give it two buttons. One is allow connection. The other one is going to be delete request or deny connection, and we'll delete the request. Deny connection. What process do we have that ran the delete? It would be on here. Nope, wrong one. This one. Delete store. Delete store, and that one. Just backtracking, I want to find out which part. Delete store, click. This one is here. Delete store, and it is, we need to set the store ID that we're currently working with and then click delete store. If I do that, this will process and it'll take it off the list. Okay. Two things. Copy that. We want to set this value. I know I'm getting a little tricky in here. I know I had get stores and it's right there. Okay, so what I'm adding is, there's two pieces here. We are going to start with this equals this value. We're going to give it the store ID here. Which will set the value for store ID, and then this will delete store. That will get rid of it. Deny connection, boom, deletes the store, and it's off the list. Boom. Okay, so we have approve connection, allow connection, which we're going to set up a JavaScript for that. Update store key, it's going to be very similar to that, so I'm just going to leave that there for a second. And we'll copy this process. It's going to be very close to what that one was. I just missed it by a line. Back up. There. And allow connection for this store. And we're going to do some stuff from this side. Okay. Bum, ba-da-bum, bum. It is going to first allow connection, means we need to create a new allow connection. We're going to need that in the process here. So let's add a button. Save connection, connected store, save store, update key. Okay, let's just make one of those be allow connection. And we have it here. Got to tell it what we want to do afterwards. Case this. Break. And also what we do for the process is going to be up here. And then we're going to tell it to do something similar to update store. So let's copy that and we'll call it allow store connection. I could, you know what? I'm going to just say allow connection because I want it to match the words we used, allow connection there, allow connection here. So if I search for it, I find all the references to it. So we're going to call this process allow connection, and that would be in our 3D shopping here. This one. Just like before, we copied delete store, and we started with that as a process. I'm going to do the same thing again and create this here, and then we'll call it allow connection, and that sets up our security to make sure we have a right to do this. And then if this is not empty, we know we're working with a particular store. We'll do an update to that in a minute. It's not going to be deleted. We'll make sure that it isn't deleted for the moment. Okay, and here we're going to do some extra stuff. So first thing we want to do is WalkTheWeb key equals, and we're going to issue a key. And then we're going to issue a secret. And we're going to update them to the database, and then we're going to send them to the other server so that they have the server activated and it's ready to go. So first thing is CK underscore and then CS underscore, and then we have WTW plugins get random, where did the key go? Hello. Get random string, and this is going to be 40 characters, comma 1 for that type, and that will give us a key. This is going to do the same thing here, and we need to base 64 encode that value. And we're going to do the same on the other one. We're just going to run all values encoded just because we can. Okay, so we've created both these values. Now we're going to write them to the database. And we're going to tell it it's been updated as of now. So that'll also take care of our update flags. So first of all, WTW key equals one value. WTW secret equals another value. And create date equals, sorry, it's not create date. Update date. I know it's redundant. Update date now, and update user ID equals, we'll insert the user ID there. We should also update a create user ID, because it's kind of, the date can be the same, but create user ID should also be there based on whatever that is. Okay, so we have this value. Then we have this value. And then we have, and notice I'm going to be checking that it came from the original anytime somebody does something. So even if somebody found a key, if they didn't come from the original site, it's not going to work anyway. We're going to have some balances and checks. We can check the referring side. There's all kinds of things we can do that'll help build that process. Okay, so the other part is the user ID is this one. So we're going to do that. Update those. You know, I didn't set the update date here also. Date equals now, and date user ID equals that value. That way we do know what the latest, when that was updated, we know this all happened and it was refreshed by what user. This particular one is going to be this user ID here, user ID there, deleted as blank, that's all good. That should issue the new piece. So now we know the new flag is there. And the other thing is, though, we created this new flag, or this new access code, but we did not send it to anybody. We didn't give it to them. Okay, so this can only be initiated from our side from that. And let's go here. Now we want to, after that's been done, the next step is we need to call a page on the other server and give it this code that we just did. First thing we're going to do is on the other server, we have not created we have not created any more of this type stuff. We're gonna do some of that. Let's first set up the call, which I was doing this curl, but curl only works if curl is activated. I've already determined that. I just want to see, is it used any other times in that site? No. No, that didn't do it. Sorry. That's not the line I was looking for. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Finding files. What do we have? No, I didn't call it that way. I know where I used it. Let's go to this site. Find this. Finding files. I did this type of a piece if this is a flag or not. So that kind of becomes the way that I pull it, and one of the two happens of how I get the data. So it's two different ways based on what they do there. We're going to do something similar here. I'll worry about the other site when I'm ready to do the other site. But in this case, we're get file contents and we need the URL. So the first thing we're going to do is set the URL. The URL is equal to. We're going back to, we need to do a query. Based on this, we need to grab some information. We need to know what story is that we're working with based on that ID, and that'll tell us part of the URL that we need to go to set this new value back on their site. Okay, and we should be okay. I don't need to put the contents anywhere. That's what this is doing also, opening the file and putting the contents. I just need to open the file, which means it sent it and made the statement. For now, we don't need to close get file because we never opened get file. Yes, we did. Curl init that code. Open the file. We're looking for something. No. I just need to do the get file and close it afterwards. And open file. We didn't open the file at this point. Excuse me. Okay. I'm going to be creating this, but I need to do that based on what we pull from our own database. So we're going to do a check and pull, just like here is pulling results. Let's go to here, do the same process, but in this case it is going to be stores. We're going to get stores where store ID equals store ID, and if there is an and, it's going to be and deleted equals 0. Means it still exists. We haven't deleted it, and that's the one it's going to return. Well, delete is always going to be 0 because we just set it right there. Yep. Okay, so deleted isn't going to be an issue. Limit 1, that's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm going to return. Then here we're going to get a couple bits of information. The first thing is we need the the store URL. And we're going to get, Z store URL. Z store URL, and that will be store URL from this table here, stores. This is the value we're going to pull. And oh, it's pouring rain outside right now. Okay. And we're going to be sending those two values after it wrote them. Do I need... I could validate the key of the WooCommerce because that's what gave it permission on the other side to do it. That makes sense. So I can only update it if the WooCommerce key is valid. Because I'm piggybacking on the WooCommerce key. If they don't have the WooCommerce key, I'm not letting you update the site over there. That would make sense from this side of things. Well, we're connecting stores, so it has to be a WooCommerce store to connect. Okay, just keeping all the pieces in place. Okay, so the other thing is we are going to grab the WooCommerce key and WooCommerce secret, and we're going to validate those three pieces. Z Woo key equals blank. Z Woo secret equals blank. I'm just shortening them. And then here, actually, we got two more values there. One's going to be the Woo key, Woo secret. And notice they're spelled out here. To there. And the other one's WooCommerce secret. Copy field name. This is building our security across both sides pretty good, actually. Then what we're going to send is this. We're going to use the store URL. We're building this. So store URL, then it's going to be WalkTheWeb, and then it's going to be the name of, oops, wrong site, this one. It's going to be the name of the API that we're going to extend out there. Okay, so we're going to create a new file. That is telling you what to respond with. Yeah, okay. Those are just raw values. Yeah, we'll do some more with that side of it. I'm going to copy this just so that we have kind of the dummy in place, but we're actually going to create a new one. We will call it, we'll tell it what to do here in a minute, but this one's going to be under API, and this one's going to be accept connection.php, or I could call it just connection and we do more than one thing with it. Connection, WalkTheWeb connection, PHP. I like that name. And we're not going to we're going to check some values and we're going to do some different stuff with it. Not so worried about that at the moment, but I will have it return some values here when we connect. So for now, let's call it that. Then we just need to know WTW connection. .php. And then we're going to give it some values. Wait, store URL. There we go. Don't know when I did that, but we're going there. Putting together all the pieces. So we're going to pass the WTW key. Oops. Find out where my cursor is. WTW key equals, and that will be this value, this value, and then WTW secret equals. You ever look at a word that you spelled 1,000 times and all of a sudden it looks weird one time? No reason. Then we're going to do the woo key, which will be this value. And then the woo secret, which will be the woo secret. And finally, we need to tell it the name of the site we're working from here. Let's put that first, actually. Host URL equals, and we'll insert the host URL, which is, let me think here, I believe the host URL, we set it up in our, let's see if I do this without exposing a bunch of passwords. Sample. Server, no, it is the domain. Default domain, no, that's not going to be it. Okay, so the value we want is actually iframes. I set these values in here so I can actually, we are in the plugins. Oh, that's not, I'm sorry, it's not iframes, it's functions I meant. And we are in the plugins, which means we want the root path. Content path, root path. No, domain URL. That's the one we want. So it will be domain URL. Okay. Get back to here. The path is going to be WalkTheWeb plugins domain URL. Then that should give us everything we need in this piece to do everything. If not empty and is set then all this stuff can happen. Otherwise, if we don't have a key value, then there's no reason to even attempt to connect to the other server and do anything. Those two are all I need at the moment. Let's do that one more time. And we need a secret also. Okay, so we've passed both of these values. The whole thing, what we need, you know, never a fan of passing too much information in one sweep. going to tell you that right now. I think this would be better served if I do two separate pieces, two separate calls. One of them, this is just me, but one of them is going to be the key value of both, so that we're passing the keys, or just the key of WTW, but we're sending both the key and secret on the other end because we have to validate it. And then on this, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this. You know, I reserve the right to change that later. For now, we're going to send them over in one bunch. I don't want to make it more complex than it needs to be. Yeah. You're only going to get this fired off if we actually trigger it from our own self. So that kind of helps in the security too, because I'm issuing it and sending the call to the other server. That should make it a little friendlier. Okay. So now this process goes and it comes out here to find a site, not on that server, but on this WooCommerce site. I need to make this page exist. So the first thing I'm going to do is we'll remark out that so it can be accessed directly at the moment, because I need to make all these different pieces exist for this page, just so we can actually bring it up in the site. So the first thing I'm going to do is think about this. In the WooCommerce piece, I'm going to search for this page because I've already designed this whole process to allow me to do this. So I'm going to come in here and basically add WalkTheWeb. Oh, it's called WalkTheWeb store info. Oh, that's fine. WalkTheWeb WTW connection. Make sure I type it right. And that will be WTW connection. Okay. This needs to be for one of these. There's probably a million ways to do this. I just happen to do it this way, so I'm going to be consistent with my own product. And set that here. And it's going to be WalkTheWeb WTW connection. And connection. Okay, that'll add the query variables. And then here, when we tell it the rewrite rule, it is WTW connection, and that will be API WTW connection, WalkTheWeb, and I'm going to set connection, WTW connection. Okay, so this piece matches that, which matches this, which gives it the right file when we choose to do this. That brings it all into place. Now I should have where I can actually call this page, and we're gonna see if that actually happens now. I should be looking for this page under WalkTheWeb. Okay, we have these pieces to do. First of all, it is PS. Do that. WalkTheWeb / this. Let's see if I actually get a page. No, I get the home site. Think about how that works. Easiest one is to take one that already exists here. Wait a minute, I search for store info. What called store info page? I need to see how I called that. It would be, copy. I need to open another site. Notepad. That's not it. Add. Yep, we're getting there. We're getting there. Bear with me. I'm almost there. This, and we have I actually want to bring up the 3D WalkTheWeb site. Find this, find in files, and we need it to be the 3D WalkTheWeb site. Okay, find all. This is going to tell me the correct path that I should be hitting. I just don't remember. It's been too long. I want to make sure that I can hit that particular file and bring it up. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, so this one went from here. Plugin, WTW plugin name. The plugin is WalkTheWeb. Should have worked. Oh, I didn't do that piece. Okay, that may be all it was missing. I think it's this one. Nope. Open too many windows. I know, if I shrink it down and then open it again, then the black over here fixes. Okay, so let's add this there. And add it to our test call. Just want to do it while I found it here. If I do this, oops, that page not found. WalkTheWeb is the plugin name, and that's what it would be here. Is it a mixed case caps? Need to think about. Okay, so we'll get back to this site. That's not it. Glasgow. Get back to this one. No, that's not it. Now the plugin is WalkTheWeb. Text domain, plugin, author, plugin. It is the plugin. So WalkTheWeb should have had that page. It should have been allowed. That is all on here. I saved the page. Store info, WTW connect. This particular page is here. It allows all connections. It is blocking if it wanted to do the absolute path. Check the value there. This should have returned something that looked like this. That's the page we created. That's where we put it. That's, did I call it right? Did I do that right again? WTW connection. Okay. That should have worked. Well, let's test another thing here. Oops. Let's go to I want to make sure these other ones work. Store info, for example. Store info should have worked if I have this piece. Oh, that doesn't have to be there. Because I'm automatically adding that. Let's test a theory. Oops. Didn't mean to back out of that completely. What I need to check is, first of all, in here, nope, wrong one. That is not the right side anymore. Which one is this? It's the plugins of that. Okay. Store info, I'm going to remark out that so that I can hit the store info page and see if that worked. I'm going to remark that. See, that didn't work either. There it is. Okay, so store info worked. Something else didn't update. Here we go, once again with the update issue. We should be able to go to that page just like that. This page should work. WalkTheWeb connection equals 1. Let me make sure I have all those pieces in place. So in the class, WalkTheWeb connection equals 1. That's all right. That is, oh, this part. Where is this being called? I think I'm missing a piece here. Okay, so this is being called from somewhere. Let's find out. Find this. That's where we haven't added the query variable. That's why it didn't work. Okay, so if I take this, put it here, and add this to be connection, now we should have the right query variables in place and allow that connection. There it is. Okay, we've gotten that far. We're getting there. We're getting there. In this file, I'm going to set back up the security. And then in this one, this is where we're going to start working with it. First thing I want to do is I'm going to read in some values that we set in our query string. Then we're going to test some values and validate it and see where we end up. Once we validate it, then we can write it to the database. So we have a couple pieces to put into here. Let's see, where am I? You know what? I'm going to take a quick break and then we'll come back to this. So going to refill the glass, going to get everything else going here. And then I'll be back in just a couple minutes. So bear with me. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back and here we go. Okay, so when we get to this page, first thing we need to do is read in some variables. See if I can even say the word today. And so we're going to do let's see, what is it? We are sending over WalkTheWeb key. WalkTheWeb secret. The host URL and the woo key and the woo secret. S-E-C-R-E-T. Let's see if I can spell it. And to do that, well, let's put them in a certain order. Keep them in the order that they exist. Then we will say if not empty and is set host URL equals get host URL, and we will put that there, and now we need 3 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 4 more. So we have this equals WTW key. And then we have the secret. And it's actually faster just to copy that there. And the woo key. And the woo secret. That'll give us our values. And then we can do some checks. First of all, I'm thinking somewhere in WooCommerce, they already have a function that allows you to check the key. I don't think I want to reinvent the wheel. I want to validate and use the key. Did I already do that in the past on this function? Let me see. We have a bunch of functions in here. I know it turned white on me. Let me get that back open. Okay. It's not that hard just to write a command that goes against the database and checks it. So we can anyway, did this. Which part's first? The key is encrypted. The secret is not. I believe that's how it is. Okay. Sorry, I had to hide that for a second. I had to peek at some things. I know I'm not even going to use these keys in secret because I'm showing you the encoded version right there anyway. So I'm going to be replacing all these as soon as this session's over. So you don't have to worry about that. But okay, what do we have? What I need is, let's results equal, whoops. results equal WTDB, no, I'm sorry, WPDB, get results, I think is the way it's worded. I know I do a bunch of these. Yep, oh, get results with an underscore in between, and it's going to be from this table. So let's do that. Okay, so here we are checking the, oops, didn't mean to grab that line. WooCommerce API keys, where the key ID equals something. No, that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to look for where alter table, just want to see listing, where the consumer key equals this, and what we're going to do is we're going to return the value, and then we're going to check if we're checking some values here. What we're going to do is we're going to see if the Woo secret here, if Woo secret equals base64 encoded consumer secret that comes out of the database, then has access equals true. That way we've tested it. We've never actually decoded it. We just encode what comes out of the database. We check it and validate to make sure it works, and then we should be good on that one. So here, I just want to say, just to do it, these values don't even mean anything because we're not even using them. That's just, I'm just leaving it here for the moment so we can format the has access, and it would be, copy that, there. Okay. That should tell us if we have access when we hit this link, and I'm going to refresh that page, and let's see what happens. I didn't like it. Oh, wait. Call to member, get results from a null. We didn't tell it. We forgot one important piece up here. I know, I blame you. It's going to be global WPDB. That will give us the database, and then we can call it after that. So let's see. That should fix that error. And there we are. False. We do not have access. Okay. Let's find out what piece of this didn't. Oh, because I didn't pass the values in the statement. That makes sense. Let's pass some values and see if we have access. So we don't have access, which is a good thing, actually, since we didn't actually use, I said actually so many times now. Okay, WooCommerce key is this. So if I WooCommerce key equals that. And in the database, we are going to say WooSecret equals this. Equals that. Now hit enter. True. There we go. Okay, so we passed the right credentials. We were able to get in, and when we didn't, we did not get in. And I'm going to prove that just by knocking out. We're going to take out this one letter here, hit enter, and watch it say no. False. There we go. Okay, so we know that passing the correct credential works, and we're able to get in. That security check works. So now, if has access, means that we have the right credentials, then we can do something, which is we're going to now update the request that should already exist. We're going to find out, first of all, if the request exists, and then if it does, we're going to go ahead and update it. Something would have already been happening before then, because you wouldn't have the WooCommerce credentials if it hadn't been requested from the other side. So, like I said, handshaking back and forth, telling one server that the other server is active, and then the active server going back to the other one. You know, a little bit of back and forth stuff, and, you know, just seeing what we can do. So, okay, let's see. If it has access, then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if the record exists, because the record should already exist just by the request that they put out. Does that make sense? On this side of the fence, when I called it, it initially saved the record. So I should be able to go to this table, which is, let me see here. 3D hosts, WalkTheWeb prefix, 3D hosts. Did I do that piece for them? I believe I can use that prefix. And WalkTheWeb 3D host. This is the table that I'm working with right here. We should see where we have these values, and we're going to automatically populate these two values right here, WalkTheWeb key and WalkTheWeb secret. So prefix 3D host. Now we're going to see if that even works. I'm not sure. I have my doubts about that one. I don't think we've identified this at the time that this file's running. No, because I never included the plugin. Okay. Oh, this because it's on the other server. That is not the case here. We're going to do... I got to make sure I'm working on the right site. This will be the prefix WalkTheWeb underscore 3D hosts, which is the name of my table right there. We're going to see where, and this will be host URL equals, and it'll be this host URL there. And we haven't decided what it's going to do here yet. But what we need is to find out if the host URL exists, and enabled. We'll worry about the enabled. I got to look into what I was thinking when I wrote that. I think that applies to something else. Okay, that's just the way that they can disable and reconnect and decide when it's available or not. Okay. I could say enabled equals, So 3D hosts, enabled equals 0. Ooh, enabled equals 0. Okay, we're going to set enabled equals 1 when we do this. That way it gets triggered. Well, I don't want it triggered from the outside. We'll think about where it's going to be enabled. But that's not the critical part here. First thing we have is we did this stuff, and we need to get a couple values back from the host. We want to know the host ID. So host ID is, I believe it's a number. Let's double check. Host ID varchar 16. Okay, good. Good. So if, let's see, host ID equals 0 this host ID. That will get the value. And then if the host ID not empty and is set then we're going to do something else with it, which is we're going to give it our two values. Oh, we also want to know, was there a previous one? That's the other kicker. So Z the key. I'm going to say, instead of key there, we're going to call this one the new key because it's the one we're sending over, and the new secret. That way, new key and secret new. That way we're getting the values, but we're using the ones that already existed, and this one, which is the current value set, I'll be able to work with that separately. WalkTheWeb secret equals this. We're going to pull all three of these values. And WalkTheWeb key, WalkTheWeb secret, and this is, now that we have all the information we need, then we're going to do some things. If host ID in that is there, that means we found the record that we're working with. This part here, if WalkTheWeb key is empty, or not is set, then we're going to do something else. There. That's going to give us two different conditions based on if they have something in place. If it comes up and there is a value for the key, then, so if it's empty, then we're going to do a statement that is a query. And this query is going to basically set is going to update this table. Update this table, and it's going to set WTW key equals WTW key new, which is the new one we brought in. And we're also going to do WTW secret equals Z WTW. Oh, I missed a Z on that one. Z WTW secret new. And we're also going to tell it, no, we're not. I could enable it. I think the enabling should happen on the side of the person who requests it. So I think when we first request it, we'll make sure it's enabled. That makes more sense than doing it on this end, where host ID equals Z host ID. Let's do limit 1. Like I said, that's always something that we keep in mind because we want to make sure that there isn't a chance of SQL injection. If it did exist, which means we already found a key in place, the first thing is if the key is not the same as the current key. If this key is not equal to Z WalkTheWeb key new, and well, we already checked to see if it's empty. And not empty for the new key. We want to make sure there's a key to put in here, otherwise we're not bothering. We already checked that. No. We're going to do it a step higher because I want to make sure that it happens for both of these records. If there's no new key, there's no reason to do it. So if not empty and is set, and we're going to do the new key and the new, we only put in full values. So we'll do both of those, and that'll be to there. Yeah, we're getting this stuff in place. And that one will be the WalkTheWeb secret, new, and secret, new. Okay, so when it hits this price, that should do all that stuff. I'm not even worried about what it returns. This should update the table, and we should know that it worked. Let's try. Oh, we didn't give it a value. Okay, and WTW key equals, let's go out of our table. We're just setting up the test pattern so that we know what we're actually hitting here. Shopping stores. We do not have a key here. We don't have the key set up. That's we randomly called a new key. We tell it to write we randomly call a new key. Oh, this is not the right page. That's the plugins. We don't need that one open anymore. Let's get this one. There it is. Okay, so we call it here, and we actually set a new key as we write it to the database. Then it goes over here. We have the key, we have the secret, we have everything that we want to go there. We have the host URL, connection. Well, you know what? We're going to get real daring here and test this from this side of things. Because from here, we should detect. We did a lot of changes. So let's find out if this item here, oh, it's not set. Just a second. When this comes across, if these values are blank, we need to tell it to show this. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit here, but this is where we're at. Get stores, this particular thing. If this value is blank, then we should be seeing a green button. Oh, I know why. I never told it to add it to the actual line up here. Plus. Why is it new key both times? No, new key and WalkTheWeb key. Okay. Let's see how we did. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're almost there. Bear with me. 3D stores. List the stores. No, it did not do it. What did I miss? WTW key. WTW key. Oh, copy that. WTW key is this one, which means allow the connection and also delete the store if they choose not to. That will get that in place. This all works. I'll take a bow. No. No, it's not showing up. Okay, let's find out what's going on here. WalkTheWeb key equals blank. Let's find out why this is not showing up here. And that would be WalkTheWeb key equals that. And then could say undefined or something, huh? Get stores. Get stores. Oh, well, there's my reason. It is undefined. So we come in here and add a couple more rows. We're going to need 4 more rows. We're going to have the WalkTheWeb key. Just so you can see, we have WalkTheWeb key, WalkTheKey secret, and oh, actually there are no 4 rows. It's just the 2. We already added the new down there. So we have WalkTheWeb key and WalkTheWeb secret. Now we'll have a value there. Okay, let's return them with the rest of that. Once that undefined, that wasn't a blank, obviously. So 3D stores, list 3D stores. Okay, allow and deny connection. We should put them in the other order. Just a little house cleaning. When you do it, you gotta do it right. Huh? So this particular one, we have 2 pieces. They build from right to left. That's why they're backwards. If I take this one and put it after this one, now they're in the other order. And notice they both have no values there for this, so that part, yeah, I just want to do it. I want to see it work right all the way through. And we have plugins. Oops, sorry, plugins. Let's go to 3D stores. Okay, and we can allow or deny the connection. We should make that a red button. I'll do that next time. Allow the connection, and we go through some values. That didn't work. Okay, let's track that down. See where it got to. That value is blank. We now see this, which gives us setting the store ID value equal to that. And, oh, I'm sorry, the wrong one. Allow connection. Let's see if allow connection happened. Okay, allow connection is this one here. We need to put something here so we know it actually got this far. Allow connection equals the store ID. I just want to see it actually show me the store ID also. Then we're doing the background process. We'll double check, see if it gets that far. So, gonna make sure the JavaScript's kicking off before we do everything else, just to see all the pieces come into place. 3D stores. List the stores. Oh, it did it. Well, that tells me something. We just never told it to refresh the screen after the fact. That's the problem. Okay, so it actually did everything we wanted it to, and I'm going to prove that here in a second. Allow connection came back, did this, and notice allow connection doesn't have anything here. So we didn't tell it to do anything. But what we want to do is we want to make it show the stores, and we already have get stores there. So all we have to do is piggyback it onto this one, and it'll run get stores, which will clear that sign. Now to double check, we have a value here, so it assigned a value. Okay, we're good on that. And the real test, we have 3D hosts over here. Nope, it did not call that page. Okay. Well, let's see. What can I do? I need to, well, now I have those values, so we're not gonna worry so much about transferring the values to the other side. Let's test out this piece right here with the key in place. So let's see if that web page does everything it's supposed to, or if it drops off and has an issue. So I'm going to take this value for the key, put it on here, and then WalkTheWeb secret equals, and we add the secret, which is here. Where am I going? Sorry. Phone ring, I got distracted. Okay, there we go. And when I hit enter, it's running this page, and access was true. It didn't pop up any errors. And let's see if this process wrote them in. Nope, it did not. Oh, the host URL is the 3D site. Did that match up? Because we only did an update statement, so it wouldn't have found it. It wouldn't have updated if it didn't find it. The host URL in this statement, nope, I never put it in here. That would make a difference. Didn't find the host URL, it can't update the host. Equals https://3d.ed http://3d.net. Hit that, and let's see. There we go. We were able to pass the values to here, and it knows that they are the right values, and now we've made the connection both ways. I'm not going to worry about enabled at this particular point in time. I'm going to make sure it's enabled on the other person's end who requests it in the first place. So we have a full process where now if I go into here, I'm going to be able to say 3D hosting, and I'm going to bring up a list. I don't have it yet, but I'm going to bring up a list, and it's going to already show the condition and the situation that you've requested it. We're gonna have some pieces filled in the blanks on that part. But that's what it is. That's where we are, and we're making progress. We just keep moving one piece after another on that. But I want to thank everyone for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. It's been something. If you haven't followed me, make sure you follow me so you know when I'm online. And I'll be back. I'm here almost every single day, and we'll see if we can't keep plugging forward with everything. But making a lot of updates, doing as much as I can, and that's where it's at. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again real soon. Okay.